When you think of Wall Street legends, the name Peter Lynch is right up there. This is the guy who took the Fidelity Magellan Fund and turned it into an absolute powerhouse, one of the biggest and best performing funds the world has ever seen. But where do you think a guy like that got his start? Well, his story doesn't begin in some fancy Ivy League classroom or on a chaotic trading floor. Nope, it starts somewhere much, much more surprising. That's right, the golf course. The foundation for one of the greatest financial minds of our time was laid out on the perfectly manicured greens of a country club. And this wasn't just, a way to make some cash for the summer. It was an education in disguise. So let's dive into how this all happened. So, why was a golf course so important to his story? Well, for him, it really came down to one thing: necessity. After his father passed away, Peter's family was facing some really tough financial times, and he knew he had to step up and help out. So you gotta understand, for young Peter Lynch, caddying wasn't about getting pocket money for movies or whatever. It was a serious responsibility. It was a crucial part of his family's income. And having that kind of real-world pressure, man, that just sharpens your focus in a way a casual summer gig never, ever could. And this really paints the picture, right? You've got these two completely different worlds colliding on one golf course. On one side, you have the golfers, these wealthy executives talking about stock tips, mergers, and million-dollar deals between swings. And on the other side, you've got the caddy, doing hard physical labor. Peter was right there, in the middle of it all, a quiet observer walking right alongside the people who were making the economy tick. Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting. This is what made Peter Lynch different. While other caddies might have just tuned out all that business chatter, Lynch tuned in. He figured out pretty quickly that the conversations he was overhearing were way more valuable than any cash tip he was going to get. I mean, just look at what he was hearing every single day: mergers, business cycles, consumer trends. This is basically a free, real-world MBA happening right in front of him. He was learning the language, the rhythm of the market, not from some dusty textbook, but from the actual people who were shaping it. But here's the key. He wasn't just hearing a bunch of financial jargon and letting it go in one ear and out the other. He was an incredible observer of people. He started connecting the dots. He'd ask himself, why did some of these guys seem so confident about a company while others were worried? He was learning to read the emotional temperature of the market just by the conviction in their voices. So all of this listening, all of this intense observation, it all came together and formed the foundation of his now famous investment philosophy. And it wasn't some complex formula he learned in school. It was a simple, powerful idea forged in the real world. He started making these amazing connections between the stuff he heard on the golf course and what he was seeing just living his everyday life. He realized the best investment ideas weren't buried in some complex financial report. No. They were right there, out in the open, for anyone who was actually paying attention. And that brings us to his core idea, his famous doctrine: invest in what you understand. You see, it didn't start as some grand theory. For him, it began as a practical survival instinct. He focused on what he could see, what he could hear, and what he could actually understand, because that was the most reliable information he had. Okay, so it's one thing to have a theory, right? But what happens when you put your own hard-earned money on the line? Well, as a teenager, Peter Lynch did just that. He took all that money he made caddying and made his very first investment, guided entirely by this brand new philosophy of his. And his method, it was so beautifully simple. You can really break it down into 4 steps. He'd observe a business in the wild, he'd gauge how excited people were about it, he'd connect all those real-world clues, and then, and this is the important part, only then did he invest his own money. No complicated math, no algorithms, just pure, simple observation. And you know what? It worked. His first bet was a winner. But honestly, the money wasn't even the most important part. It was the validation. It proved him at a very young age that his unique way of looking at the world, his whole philosophy, had real power. And that one experience really cemented these 3 key lessons in his mind. These became the absolute bedrock of his entire career. He proved that real-world observation can beat complex theories, that our everyday lives are packed with investment signals, and that anyone, absolutely anyone, can spot an opportunity if you just have the discipline to pay attention. So when you look back at his whole story, it's so clear that his time at that country club wasn't just a job to make ends meet.
It was the training ground that forged him into an absolute titan of the industry.
I mean, think about the skills he was building long before he ever stepped foot inside a finance classroom. He developed this razor-sharp observational mindset. He got a real hands-on education in business psychology. He learned to hear economic reality just by listening to conversations. And maybe most importantly, he developed a genuine, deep curiosity for how companies actually work. That gave him such an incredible head start.
This next line, I think, just sums it up perfectly. The same intense focus and curiosity he applied to studying every golfer's swing on the course was the exact same mindset he would later apply to analyzing thousands of companies. The method never changed. The only thing that changed was the scale. And that kind of leaves us with one final, big question to think about. Peter Lynch found his informal finance school on the fairway. He found priceless information just hidden in plain sight. So the real question for you, for all of us, is this. What's the golf course in your life? Where are those conversations happening around you? What are those observations you could be making that hold incredible value if you just start paying attention?
You know, when you think of a Wall Street legend, you probably picture someone buried in complex charts and secret algorithms, right? Well, what if I told you one of the greatest of all time ignored all that? Instead, he built a multi-billion-dollar empire using something we all have, just plain old common sense. His story is, well, it's not just impressive, it's a powerful lesson in how to spot the extraordinary hiding in our everyday lives.
Okay, let's start with a number, 29%. Now what is that? That was the average annual return Peter Lynch got for 13 straight years with the Fidelity Magellan Fund. To put that in perspective, on Wall Street, if you hit that for a year or two, you're a star. But to do it for over a decade, that's not just remarkable, that's absolutely legendary.
So, what does a 29% return every year actually do? Well, it takes a pretty modest fund of about $18 million and turns it into a $14 billion powerhouse. We're not just talking about good growth here. This was one of the most explosive, mind-boggling expansions in the entire history of finance.
So you got to be asking, what was his secret sauce? What kind of genius pulls this off? Well, according to Lynch himself, it wasn't about being a genius at all. He said it was just observation, hard work, and common sense. But that's the real puzzle, isn't it? How on earth does such a simple, almost boring philosophy lead to results that are anything but?
All right, let's rewind the clock. The year is 1977. There's a small, kind of overlooked fund at Fidelity called Magellan. They hand the keys over to this young analyst, Peter Lynch. You know, nobody's really expecting much. But Lynch, he saw a chance to throw out the Wall Street rulebook and do something completely different.
And his whole game plan, his entire vision, was built on this one beautifully simple idea. Invest in what you know. Seriously, that was it. He was convinced that you, me, the average person, that we could find amazing investment opportunities just by paying attention to our daily lives. No complicated jargon, no fancy degrees needed.
And the real power of this idea is just how simple it is. Think about it. By just focusing on companies and products he actually understood as a regular consumer, Lynch basically gave himself this information edge. He could see a winner taking off months, sometimes even years, before it ever showed up on some fancy Wall Street analyst's computer screen.
Now, don't get the wrong idea. This wasn't some passive, sit-on-your-couch strategy. Oh no. Lynch was way more of a detective than your typical fund manager chained to a desk. He was absolutely convinced that the best, most valuable information wasn't hiding in some dusty annual report. It was out there, in the real world. I mean, his whole research process was just different. He literally walked through shopping malls, just watching to see what people were grabbing off the shelves. He'd chat with the cashiers, ask customers what they liked. He wanted that raw, unfiltered feedback. But, and this is key, that was just step one. Once he got that gut feeling, he'd go back and dig into the numbers, the financials, to make sure the story he was seeing in the store was actually backed up by a solid, healthy company.
So with all this legwork, what was he even looking for? He was on the hunt for what he called 10 baggers. Yeah, he made that term up himself. It means an investment that has the potential to grow to 10 times its original value. He wasn't playing for small wins. He was swinging for the fences, looking for those huge, game-changing companies that everyone else was overlooking.
Okay, so what happens when you take this invest in what you know idea and combine it with a non-stop, relentless hunt for these 10 baggers? Well, what you get is one of the most incredible, legendary track records in the history of finance.
And this all went down in a pretty specific window of time, just 13 years. From 1977 to 1990, Lynch just put his head down and applied this philosophy with an almost religious discipline and consistency. And in doing so, he basically changed the entire investment world forever.
And the result? Honestly, it was just astonishing. This little $18 million fund that nobody even knew existed blew up into a $14 billion behemoth that absolutely everyone was trying to get a piece of. And I'll say it again, this wasn't some lucky streak. It was the direct, predictable result of his common sense method.
Of course, when you pull off something like that, you're gonna get a nickname. And his was the Wizard of Wall Street. Sounds about right, doesn't it? But you know, Lynch himself always hated that. He pushed back on it, always insisting it wasn't magic. It was just good old-fashioned hard work and, you know, actually paying attention.
And that's really why his story is so important today. This whole Magellan miracle, it's not just about the crazy eye-popping numbers. It's about a way of thinking, a method that literally anyone can learn from. It doesn't matter if you're a pro investor or if you're just getting started.
I mean, just think about it. There are kind of two ways to approach investing, right? There's the typical Wall Street way, which is all about speculation, chasing hot rumors, and totally panicking every time the market dips. And then there's the Lynch way. Patient observation, careful, meticulous research, and thinking about the long game. The difference couldn't be more night and day.
So what are the big takeaways here? What can we actually use from this? It really boils down to 4 simple things. First, trust what you actually see with your own eyes, not what you hear on the grapevine. Second, do your homework. Third, be patient and give your ideas time to work out. And maybe most importantly, remember that the next huge opportunity could be right under your nose, hiding in plain sight.
You know, when you look back, Lynch's real genius wasn't just about picking winning stocks. It was that he made investing seem accessible. He took away the mystery. He proved to everyone that you don't need some fancy degree or a supercomputer to do well. You just need to open your eyes, ask questions, and have the confidence to trust your own common sense.
And that really leaves us with one final, kind of exciting thought. If Peter Lynch was right, if his whole philosophy holds true, then that means world-changing opportunities are all around us, right now, hiding in plain sight. So the real question isn't, where should I look? The question is, am I really paying attention? So what 10-bagger is hiding in your daily life?
All right, let's talk about a truly wild story. Imagine you are, without a doubt, the best in the world at what you do, a total legend. And then, right at the peak, you just walk away. That's not a hypothetical. That is the true story of Peter Lynch, and we're about to unpack why the greatest investor on the planet decided to call it quits.
First, to really get the shock of his decision, you have to appreciate just how good he was. For 13 years, 13, as the manager of the Magellan Fund, Peter Lynch averaged a 29% annual return. No, that is not a typo. On Wall Street, numbers like that are basically a myth. It's the kind of performance that makes you a living legend. And the result of that performance? Well, it was just astronomical. He took this pretty small $18 million fund and ballooned it into a $14 billion behemoth. I mean, he wasn't just winning the game, he was fundamentally changing what anyone thought was possible.
So let's just lay out the timeline. He gets the keys to the fund in '77. He spends the entire decade of the '80s becoming an absolute icon. And then in 1990, at just 46 years old, the prime of his career, he announces he's retiring. He wasn't pushed out, he didn't fail, he just quit. And that right there is the big question, isn't it? Why on earth would you hang it all up when you're on top of the world, when you've got decades of your career still ahead of you? This is the question that just floored Wall Street, and it's the one we're going to dig into right now. Because the answer, as it turns out, had almost nothing to do with making money or picking stocks. It was all about a completely different kind of bottom line. You see, at the very heart of this huge decision was this pivot in his entire philosophy. For Lynch, the endless chase for more wealth, for more fame, it had run its course. His choice was driven by a much more personal idea of what a truly successful life looks like. And it really boiled down to 3 core things. Number 1, family first. After years of a truly relentless work schedule, he wanted to be there for his kids. Simple as that. 2, philosophy over fame. He found he got way more satisfaction from sharing his knowledge than from just winning. And 3,
passing the torch. He believed real success wasn't about hoarding wins, but about empowering other people to win too.
So this wasn't an ending at all, really. It was a complete transformation. He stepped down from managing money to take on an arguably much bigger job, being a teacher for millions of regular people. His second act was just getting started. And his new mission was, incredibly bold. He wanted to throw back the curtain on the mysteries of Wall Street. He wanted to prove that investing wasn't some kind of secret language only for the pros. He truly believed anyone, and I mean anyone, could do it, and he was going to show them exactly how.
His main tools for this mission were his books. With One Up on Wall Street, he told regular folks to trust their own experiences. Beating the Street went a little deeper for those who wanted more. And Learn to Earn was all about getting the next generation started on the right foot. He was building a whole library dedicated to financial literacy.
So what was the actual wisdom he was trying to get across? Well, it all comes down to a few powerful, refreshingly simple ideas that are, frankly, more relevant today than ever.
This one is his most famous piece of advice, and for good reason. He basically said, look, your everyday life gives you an edge. You see which stores are always packed, which products your friends are obsessed with. You see these things long before some analyst in a skyscraper. That's your secret weapon. Use it.
He was an absolute stickler for this. Forget the hot tips. Forget what everyone else is doing. Lynch believed the only path to real success was to roll up your sleeves, do the research, and actually understand the business you're putting your money into. No shortcuts. Oh, this was so key to his whole approach. The market is going to go up and it's going to go down. That's just what it does. Panicking is the single worst thing you can do. Lynch taught that having the guts to hold on to great companies through the scary times is what makes all the difference.
You don't need some supercomputer or a PhD in economics. Lynch was a huge champion of the idea that a clear, simple strategy that you actually understand is way more powerful than some ridiculously complex model that just confuses you.
So when you start to put all these pieces together, you see it, right? His retirement wasn't him quitting. It was the moment he started building his real legacy, one that completely reshaped what success in the financial world could even mean. And this wasn't just talk either. He put his money where his mouth was. He became a huge philanthropist, pouring his fortune into education, scholarships, and community building. He wasn't just telling people how to build wealth, he was directly investing in their future.
This comparison just says it all, doesn't it? As the fund manager, his goal was to beat the market. His legacy, a $14 billion fund. But as the teacher, his goal was to teach the people. And that legacy, it's measured in the millions of investors he empowered and a philosophy that will last forever.
Ultimately, that's the whole story. Peter Lynch proved that true, lasting success isn't about how much you can accumulate for yourself. It's about how much you give away. His single greatest investment wasn't in some company. It was in people. And in the end, his story kind of forces us all to look in the mirror. It suggests that success is about more than just winning your game. It's about what you do with that win to help others. So the real question isn't just about what he did, but what his story inspires us to think about. What will your legacy be?